Alright, here we are again. Try a few new things. It's a short test of the positioning of all this. See if we can have background music too, because I'm just messing with this capture software while I'm messing with this. So I've been busy here. This took about 15 minutes to build this rough static object only world. Note I keep it really smooth and clean around the corners. Main reason is there are these extensions to the landscape at lower resolution quality, the stuff that you usually see outside in the game map. They're called tiles, and these tiles are, they're not really necessary at this point, but once they get there, just to complete the horizon, they are in the listing down here. They are really big, and they perfectly, see, these corners are like 400 meters apart. This is a really big chunk of landscape. Once you line them up, bam, you get a whole city there, except when you go up close you can realize, oh yeah, this isn't really a city. This is something we don't play in, but from far away that usually looks pretty darn good. And it completes the horizon so you don't see the blackness. So that is why you want it smooth on the edges for the most part. They come in different sizes. Here's a 200 meter piece. Almost perfectly completes this corner. You can rotate these two just like the others so you get different looks and feels of what you're actually putting there. So let's put one here. And since there's a big hole, we can put another little one in here just in case somebody ever looks through there. Because you always have to imagine people walk around down here, and if somebody actually gets to stand here, they still see a hole back here. But we're probably going to put a wall in there anyway. So we got a little corner to finish here. That's a smooth long one. Let's put the 800 tile in here. It's a really big one, but it's a different one, so it'll look nice. So suddenly our little world, actually I'm going to change this. This is too small. Put a 200, a 100. Yeah, that'll fill it nicely. So now, standing in the street, there's a world around you in all directions. You just gotta make sure you don't see nothing when you're out here, because this is where it would have ended, right here. You can see the quality of textures is rather poor on the outside. Now you don't have to add these on the outside until you actually done rendering, but I kind of like to just do this at this point. You can always take them off later and put them back in text editing mode. We're going to get to that later. So right now we're in a map that, if you can fly around, it's pretty barren. There's no tree, no bush, no grass, no box, no wall, no light pole, no electrical lines. So there's a lot of work left here to make this look like a real world. And things like this just don't look real unless you put a big wall in here. That's all done outside the static layer. So let me just save this, and since I didn't say last time how exactly I got to that save menu, I gotta repeat it now. You get out of this mode, so your mouse is fixed, hit escape, and in the escape you get to these menus where you can save the map and graphics settings, etc. Later on we're going to go to export to actually make a map to walk around in, but it's a little early. So let's just take a little break here. No, actually we got time left. Let's show you where those walls come from. They're in the props menu. Actually it's a very long list here. Scrolling down you can see there's a lot of stuff here. Not all of it should be used when you're in the industrial tile set, but look, these have the IND industrial preset. These should be used when you're in the industrial graphics texture set. The hiss for historical you don't want to touch, but you could if you want to, and there's a little trick to make that look good when it's done. But for now we're just going to stick to industrial, or those that don't have a preset, like road sign. The rocks should have a preset, they don't work everywhere. Roof lights don't need a preset. Shanty walls should need a preset. Actually they can work in here too. Street lights, street trees, like this guy. We've seen them everywhere. Look, I'm moving it around with a special 5th mouse button. I don't know, it's the one where my thumb goes next to the left button. with that you can actually position pieces that already have been placed. I can place it, oh look, it goes through the building. How can I get a tree on a building? Well, there are two ways to place objects in this world. Right now it is told to snap to 0 elevation. Doesn't matter where I go. I can even go off the map where there's no real surface. Inside a building where there's no surface, it'll go here. Well, that's not what I always want. Maybe I want a tree to grow somewhere on top of a hill. Look, here we go. This is an area where you can see that this has some issues. So if I place the tree here, looks fine from this angle, but look at it. If you're actually walking here, oh, there's a gap. Well, see this little green orb? That shows you where you are in relation to the surface. So there's a hole here. Over there it would probably look good. Because if I move it there, the green orb seems to mesh with the actual surface at 0 elevation. So the tree looks good here, not there. How do I get it down? Well, you can use the page up and down key to move this orb 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times down, maybe 8. Tree looks good. But that's a lot of work. You only use that in places where you don't have a surface like this to snap to. When you do have a surface, let's go back to where we were. It's very simple to just hit the N key on your keyboard, and what it does, see, it seems to slide over every bump, even on top of buildings back there. You know, it'll snap to any surface. 3D. So let's go up on top here where there's a surface. Right mouse button, left the button with my thumb, and it snaps to these locations. So I can actually plant a tree on this building if I wanted to. It'll go anywhere and snap to the surface, so I don't have to endlessly do the page up and down button to have things actually line up. It's a very important mode. I use that more often than the non-fixed mode, unless I want to build something in mid-air like a bridge or something that shouldn't snap to the ground. This is much more useful here, to just put some trees, right click. See, once you're in that mode you don't have to do anything other than just right click and it'll put trees there, but these trees all look the same. Well, we maybe will rotate them. You do that again with the mouse wheel, kind of like we rotated the but you only do it in 45-degree increments, but that's enough. Pick a different tree in the middle and a third one, a third type, and suddenly we have like a real nice looking matchup of different looking trees. And different tree again. They're shanty trees too. Where are those? Shanty wall. A little higher up on the list, there's a whole batch of shanty trees. They're different. They have different leaves. Shanty tree 2, 3. So here we're setting up a whole little forest. Rotate them once they're selected with the mouse wheel. So this is getting objects placed on surfaces. We can do the same thing, say, with a crate. Let's go up to the C's here. Or a barrel. Yeah, a barrel would like to sit on the curb, right there. Put it here, it actually sits on the street, but you can actually tilt it. The road isn't totally level, and this way, you know, it will snap to angled surfaces. Let's go over here. See, I can set it up like this, and I do that by pushing the right mouse button and the thumb button together. Actually snap things against the wall if you wanted to. That gets you an ability to match objects up with others that aren't 90-degree angles. Alright, we got about a minute left in this one. Maybe we should do one more example. The building text is a tough one. See, it doesn't seem to go flat. Again, multiple mouse buttons together, right and left, and then I use the mouse wheel to rotate till I got it flush with the wall. And sometimes that isn't flush. There's this little number thing that spaces things by up to half a meter, quarter meter, 10 centimeters, 5 centimeter, 2.5, or infinitely detailed. That way you get things to be flush with building walls. And you can type in here the owner of the building, RPG hard, and it changes that. Alright, 10 minutes almost up. We're going to save this, escape, save, and quit, and we'll come back here a little later.